Hello everybody, welcome back. So sorry I missed last month. I'm a terrible YouTuber. A combination of sickness and school things just left me very busy and meant that I didn't get it done. So no good excuse at all, just reasons. As you can see, my voice is still not entirely with me. I'm trying to rest it over the next few days. I'm going to have a couple of days off school tomorrow and the next day because I took my personal days. It's my birthday weekend. I'm making it into a long weekend. I'm probably going to end up doing report cards, but I'm fine with that. I can do them after a lot of sleep in my pajamas. So it's good to just have vocal rest as well. But I didn't want to leave this for another month, given that I'm already late on the startup of the other one. I got paid on the 12th, which was 5 or 6 days ago now. That was a little earlier than usual, but about mid-month is when we get paid. So I'm just going to very quickly go through what happened in April because we missed that month, and then I'll go into May and what's happening there. Financially speaking, I was going to say it's been pretty quiet, but I suppose a couple of odd things happened with HMRC. HMRC being the taxes and revenue services in the UK. So I did two things since I spoke to you last. I filed my taxes because we got to the end of the financial year and the beginning of the new one. And I complained to HMRC, I might have told you this last time, that I hadn't received my refund for my national insurance contributions that I accidentally made at the beginning of last year. Like, it's been a long time. And that came through, but instead of depositing it straight into my account, they sent me a check, which was in the UK. So we had that going on. So what I did with the check, that came a little bit later, is a friend of mine scanned it, and I have a deposit a check feature on my app. So I printed it, I cut off the check part because letters from HMRC have them attached to the bottom, and I deposited it that way. And there must not have been any human intervention in that process because the print off was terrible and it went through. So, okay, I'm not about to look a gift check in the mouth, but man, I would have some concern if I was involved in that process. So the good news is I did get £832 for that refund. I've actually applied it to my, are we in May now? Yes, you would think I would know. It's my birthday month. We're in May. So I've actually applied it to May because by the time I've gone through that process, there's no point applying it to April. The weird thing with my taxes, so I paid my taxes, and I think I've said before, what they do when you self-assess is they say, okay, you owe this much in tax this year, and based on this bill, we think you're going to owe this much next year. So we want you to pay off this year and put half of next year on account. And then we will take out payments on these dates. And they did that last year, and I was doing it this year. So it happened this year, I owed about £2,000 of taxes. Yeah, about. I'm not giving you exact numbers, but around that. And I had one payment from last year that hadn't been taken yet. So I put in the about £2,000 into my account on the tax thing, thinking, okay, if I just put the whole lot in now, I will know that it's there. It won't be eroded in my bank account. I can just not have to think about when the deadline's coming up. It'll all be sorted. And for some reason that I cannot explain, they have refunded me that payment. I don't know if it's because the two parts of the department don't talk to each other. So when the complaints department, which I eventually went through online, issued me the check, they didn't go into my account and take off the request for a refund. And so when somebody has finally looked at my account, they said, oh, she wants a refund. Okay, and refunded me the money I already sent them. But I've received the money back unexpectedly. I still owe it. The bill is still there. So I'm just going to pay it again because I'm not about to spend an hour and 20 minutes on hold to ask somebody and they go, yeah, you should probably just pay it. But I'm waiting a tiny bit just for the deadline for the last payment to pass so that I can send it and be like, no, this is a current payment. What a mess. So crack organizational teams over at HMRC, although I suppose I can't really complain because how many people do they have to deal with? I imagine that sometimes mistakes happen. I suppose the good news in that situation is I did get my money back, so at least I've got it to make the payment. But that's why the current value I have in my tax sinking fund is so big, because I emptied it to make the payment and then I had more to pay again. So it's back in there at the moment. With that in mind, let's look at April just so you can see what happened, and we'll go on to May. What I actually might do this time is put the screen up and have me as a little screen, just so you don't feel like you're talking to thin air. I know most of you will probably just listen to it rather than look at it, but it just feels nicer, doesn't it? I made my template a little bit fancier. I don't know if I love it enough to keep it yet, but we'll see. So in my local section of, wow, that was a bit squeaky. Got a prepubescent boy. In the local section of my salary, my normal salary went through. That was 1,313. And I sent home around 987. But man, I was close to the edge in this budget. I was so broke by the end of the month. Now, that was partly my fault for a couple of reasons that we'll go through. Mainly overspending on groceries, because I did an extra grocery shop, which I was expecting to do after I got paid this time, but I had to go and get some medicine because I was running out and I wasn't about to run out of cough syrup over the last 2 weeks. I was like, So while I was there, I just went and got groceries anyway. So I had to stretch it a little bit at the end of the month. I suppose we went through it now instead, didn't we? But fixed expenses did not change mostly. I had 29 for the internet, 15 for the electricity. This will definitely be the last month for a while that I can get away with 15 for the electricity. I did have to put 20 on this month. It has gotten very hot here. It's not at the top of the heat. Around this time last year, maybe next month, we were getting up to like 43, 44 during the day. We're in the high 30s now. I think all the rain we were having kind of pushed off the heat, but it means it's rising quite rapidly. And I've got AC on 24/7. Now, given that I usually spend more time at school, the bill isn't as bad as it could be right now, but I ran it right down at the end of April. And when I'm spending more time here during the summer holidays, because I'm not traveling, because I chose not to travel this year because I wanted to save more, I will be here all day, which means I'll be running it more. So my electricity was 15. My cleaner, it says 30, and this is why. I had taken out 20 for the cleaner, right? Which I always do. I go in and I get it from the ATM when I'm shopping. But we have an app for taxis here called O-Taxi, and they updated the app recently, and man, it is annoying. So there's been a couple of glitches with it, and one of the glitches I have is that when I open it up, the default is a cash payment. But I have a card loaded on there, and I have it set to pay by card. And for some reason, it's just been defaulting back to cash. So unless I specifically remember to go in and change it to card, it doesn't take the money. And a lot of the time I don't have cash on me, so I've got to be really careful. And one time I was going to get groceries. Oh, it was when I was sick. I was going to get groceries and medicine. And I called the taxi, got there, and he was like, "You haven't paid." I was like, "What?" And so I had to break the 10 I had for the cleaner. And the minimum you can get out of the ATM is 10. So I didn't have enough for her and I had to take another 10 out. So I didn't technically spend more on the cleaner, which is why it's in yellow. Well, orange, I suppose. But I had to take the cost out of my account and it was for the cleaner. So it's going in as 30 basically, even though I have a few real in my purse still. My phone I topped up by 7 and my salary transfer cost me 5 as usual. Going over to the variable, I overspent on groceries because I did do an extra grocery trip early. That should have been the first grocery trip of this time, but it just wasn't. Transport, I didn't do too badly. I was within range of that. School, I spent 14. I think we did a science experiment. I don't quite remember. Oh no, I also got the kids some treats. I did as well. On their birthday, they always bring treats into class. And because it was my birthday and I took the day off, I came in the other day and they all started singing happy birthday to me. It was the cutest thing they've done all year. So I've bought some Skittles to come in and give them, because I've got a few allergies in my class, and you've got no idea how hard it is to find a treat to give the kids when it's like, you can't have milk, you can't have nuts, you can't have, like, I've got some bean and lagoon allergies in my class, and I'm assuming that means like soybean oil is off the table and it's in more things than you would think. So I had to go and find something that was basically pure sugar for them. I'm sure it'll end well for me. Beauty and health, I spent 27, and actually I've spent quite highly this month as well. Because I take certain medicines and because I was ill, most of the stuff was covered by my insurance, but like a few real here for like some extra paracetamol and stuff like that just inched it up. Miss Comb, I used the 10. What did I buy? I think I bought light bulbs, potentially. I never remember what I buy here. I didn't spend all of my spending category. That's what I basically put on, like coffees out, and if I go to the mall and we grab lunch while I'm there, that kind of thing. But because I was sick, I didn't go out very much. However, at the beginning of the month, I did go and get some clothes, a couple of shirts, that kind of thing. So I spent my clothing allowance. That was pre-illness. So as you can see from the totals there, I was down to like 8 real in my bank account. Like, it was bad. Now, I wasn't in any kind of danger. I do have my cards. I can pull money from somewhere else if it becomes urgent. I had my house full of groceries, so not as big a deal as it looks, but it was not a comfortable place to be. So if we look at April's savings, I received 2,100 from my salary, and I got an additional 1,000 from YouTube. So I totaled that up. I ended up putting 1,000 into my pension. I put 1,500 into my future fund, which is mostly house savings at the moment. That was a subtotal of 2,500. I didn't put anything in taxes, but the taxes were returned to me. So I do currently have 2,276 in there. I had about 200 or 300 in the account after I'd made the payment. And yeah, now it's back. I'll have to remake that payment and I'll let you know how it goes. In large purchases, I put 230 just to bring it up to a flat 1,300 because I don't like bitty numbers. Large purchases will eventually go towards me getting a new laptop from the one I'm working on here. I have a Surface Pro 6. I'm interested in the new generation of Surface Pro when it comes out. It hasn't been announced yet. We're thinking 2025. So I've got some time to wait on that. I may also, I want to say need a new phone, but maybe want a new phone by next year. Again, I was waiting for the next gen ones because all the AI stuff and stuff like that. But when the new ones come out, I do like Samsung. I prefer to stay with Samsung, the S range. So I may end up saying when the new Samsung comes out next year, I'll get a deal on the current ones now. And medical, I also took up to 1,300. I want to put some more money in there because I am planning on having a fair amount of dental work done this summer. And that was basically April. So we made it through. It was close, but we made it through. And let's move on to May. Now, this is how we're currently looking in May. I got paid my usual 1313. And I sent home a good chunk of that. We'll get into that in a second, but let's just do the fixed expenses because they're easier. Internet didn't change. Electricity, as I mentioned, went up to 20. The cleaner, I haven't taken the money out yet, but will be 20 over the course of the month. I've checked the calendar. We're not in a 3 visit month this month because sometimes it just catches because she comes on a Friday, every other Friday. So you know how you have magic months in America, it happens with me paying for my cleaner as well. Phone got 7 and my salary transfer did not change. It was fine. So 61 real for my fixed expenses. Over to the groceries. I did my grocery shop yesterday and spent 32, but I've got 120 in groceries as normal. I've got 20 in transport as normal. You can see I've used 4 already because I did the grocery trips and then I went out for coffee with a friend of mine. We went to, there's an area of Muscat called The Wave and it has some nice stuff there and we went to a coffee shop and it was nice. It was a nice little ambience to the place. School has got 20 Oh, I bought something for school, actually. I could take that out of my costs. Oh, I might do that. All right. Sorry, just thinking. I logged my receipt into here this morning and forgot that some of the stuff I bought was for school. Beauty and health, I've already spent pretty much the whole category because I had to go and get a new batch of a few medicines. I take some over-the-counter medicines. I take an antidepressant, and I just had to pay that. So I've spent 26 already. Miss Comb has 10. I can remember what I bought this time. I bought a lovely set of coasters and a couple of bakeware dishes. So that was just over 7 real. Spending has 25. I spent some on coffee, and clothing has 25. I haven't spent anything on that. I've also got, and you don't usually see this, at the top in the orange, you can see where it says additional spending. I've just put 40 real in there. It's not logged for anything in the blue section underneath, but essentially because it is my birthday and I might go treat myself on one of the days I've got off, either tomorrow or the next day, or just some point later in the month, I've put some extra money aside so I can just go and splurge on something fun. So that 40 real is kind of just earmarked for that, and I don't know what I'm doing with it yet. If we go into May savings, this is where I applied the HMRC refund, and I also earned 800 and something, nearly 900 from YouTube. So that's why it's 1700 total. So I sent slightly less home because of that 40 real I kept. So I ended up receiving 1910, the equivalent of in pounds. And then with the additional 1700 for the YouTube payment. Now, the YouTube payment hasn't come through, but the HMRC has. So I've got the one in yellow here we're going to talk about, because I've only paid as much as the yellow one says, but it hasn't completely been paid yet because I haven't received the money yet. I should get it in the next week. So there was no other spending this month. YouTube and the memberships, like subscriptions, they already have enough money in that account to cover them, so they're probably good for the next couple of months, and then I'll top that account up again. My pension got its usual 1,000, and I've put 800 into the future fund. When the YouTube money comes in, I will put another 1,000 into the future. I am concentrating any extra money into that one now, because I would really like to get it up to 100,000 eventually, because that's the point at when compound interest really starts to kick in. So that's the current goal. I am very far away from that right now. But any extra money, like the YouTube, like the additional stuff, that's where it goes normally. So that was a subtotal of 1,800. My tax, I put 200 towards it, but I've still got the old money. That'll come out soon. So realistically, I've actually got about 500 in that account. Large purchases got 400. Like I said, I don't know when it's going to be announced next year, but if I get a new laptop and a new phone, we're probably talking 3 grand, so I'm saving up. And medical, I put another 200 in to bring it up to 1,500. I don't know exactly what I need done. I know a couple of things I want to have done. I need a root canal on this tooth right here. That's why it's yellower than the others. I also want generally my teeth whitened, but I know those are going to cost about 1,000, but I just want to see if some other work is needed first. I've got a crown back here that's been bothering me on the gum line quite a lot. I don't know if it's just ill-fitted, if it's broken, if it needs replacing. It doesn't bother me enough to go in and change it specially, but if I'm having other work done, I'll ask them about it. And the visit I did 3 times to the dentist the other month, because it's such a small depression in the tooth, the filling just keeps coming out, so it's all rough there still. I might ask them to file it down potentially, but if I go in, let a look at my mouth and we have a discussion, I'm going to see how much that costs altogether, and I will prioritize what I want most with what I can afford. So I would like my medical to not go down to 0 when I'm done, because I just don't feel right not having some medical emergency money. I could dip into my emergency fund if I really wanted to. So I'm trying to build it up now, just so when I'm done, there's still a solid probably 500 in it. And I prefer to keep it at 1,000 if I could. So that's where we are right now, waiting for the YouTube money, but the rest has all been sorted, sent, ratified. My salary next month is going to be a little bit strange. If you have been with me since the last time, this sometimes happens in international schools, sometimes doesn't. It really just depends where you are. My school, they pay you for June, which is June to July, and then they also pay you July to August, all in June. So you get a double paycheck in June, and then you don't get paid again until mid-August when you return. So I need to budget for 2 months next time to make sure I've got enough to live on during the summer and to send home and things like that. So it may be that I end up sending things home in one lump sum and then not sending things home in July. I think that's how I did it last time, but I don't quite remember because I know I also traveled last year and I'm not planning on doing that this year. So next time we set up the budget, it might look a little bit different. I might have to design one that shows both months maybe. All right, so that's everything I have for you. I hope that that was all clear. Please let me know how you're doing, and sorry once again for missing the last update. I hope this at least was useful to you, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.